Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another week of Showtime with Jordan Van Haslow and friends here on 702.5 FM. This week, we're going to talk celebrity and fame and how different the industry is now thanks to YouTube and Facebook Watch and Instagram. And to have this conversation, I thought of no one better than my dear old friend. And I say old not numerically, but as he's one of my oldest friends in the world. We have with us the fantastic producer, singer, musician, songwriter, Adam Barta. Hi, Adam.
Hi, and I love your use of the word old. Thank you for qualifying that. I appreciate that.
But
You
it's
know how young I always want to be.
No, totally. But no, I said not numerically because you literally are one of my oldest friends. Adam and I met
And
many years ago. It feels like eons ago. I mean, like it was before Facebook. It was
yeah,
before
social media.
before the iPhone. It was in a land far away called New York City. I think you were one of the first people I actually met in New York. I moved to New York to do this little off Broadway musical review in this little teeny tiny off Broadway theater right in the heart of Times Square. It's not there anymore though. I think it's a Bank of America building now. And you were in the show, and we became fast friends, and so you are one of my oldest friends.
It is true. It is true. As much as I'd like to not admit it, because I am only 25, we are very old friends and dear friends too. And it's funny because you touched on a good point. You know, it's kind of like the advent of social media has changed our society so much. It's almost like, BSM before social media and after social media. You divide like kind of this like era into two phases. Like, and we're in this after social media phase where like everyone is just kind of crazy.
Totally, completely, 100%. And it's so funny. So, all this week, hold on one second. I don't like the way my hair looks. And we're doing a live Facebook feed. So, all this week, or the last couple of
Things
weeks,
never
we've been,
change.
right? Hold on, we're going to do this again. All right, there we go. So, the last couple of shows, I kept referencing this documentary that I saw on the Hulu because it's so, and I'm obsessed with it now. It's called Jawline. I don't know if you had an opportunity to check it out or not, because I was telling you about it, and it's about these young Instagram influencers, and they follow this one kid who lives in like horrible poverty, and he's he's hoping to become an influencer so he can move to Hollywood and make all of his dreams come true. And then there's this other group of people, and it's this very ambitious 21-year-old talent manager, who manages all of these very popular Instagram celebrities, and watching him and how he handles his business and such. And it was so fascinating to me because I suck at social media. I absolutely suck at social media. I mean, you've seen my social media. It's really bad, and I've been trying to figure it out. And watching this, I said, "Oh, I get it. I get I'm way too old to ever become an Instagram whatever." And also, I understood that I don't think that this new model is necessarily meant for me to understand because it's a totally different world than the professional world, the entertainment world that I grew up in. And this is a long way of saying that as I was thinking about this, and I've been obsessing and really thinking about what I saw in this Jawline documentary, I immediately thought of you because I've known you now for years. And one year of all of my friends, who I came up with, and we were all performing, and we all had dreams and goals. You're the one person I think of that I feel like fame was always like the number one goal. Like that was the number one thing on your list. Like, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be a celebrity, and it's going to bloody well happen. And I thought of you. And so I said, hey, I would love to have this conversation with you because I've seen you kind of go through a variety of different incarnations, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, first of all, I have to disagree with you on one thing. I don't think you are too old to achieve viral fame or any kind of that sort of. Because listen, I'm going to say we're in a society right now where there are middle to elderly women, aged to elderly women on TV fighting with each other, acting like they're on Jerry Springer to get camera time, and it's like, I don't think there's any age for, and there are people that I've seen that have become like overnight viral sensations, just, and in the peak of life, and by the peak of life, I mean like over 65, So I don't think you're too old because you're not 65 yet. You're getting there, but not yet. And secondly, I think too, like I said before, I think the whole paradigm's really shifted from like fame being this thing that's like worked for and like hardly like you have to go to school, you have to go to acting school every day, or you have to go to ballet school, and you have to really train and study and persevere and live and eat ramen for 2 months and live in a tiny apartment in New York and struggle to really make it, and then you'll make it. It doesn't really happen anymore because now what it is, it's all about strategy, right? It's not about really like who's the most talented, but it's about who's the most strategic at using their brand, if that's their looks or whatever they're trying to sell, and B, getting a fan base around that. So it's not so much the hardest worker anymore as it is the smartest worker, I think. And that's really what's shifted in this whole business.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. But so with that said, then what does that mean? Because the one thing that I thought was really fascinating about watching this documentary was the fact that none of them actually do anything. I mean, it's about consistency, right? And consistently posting, but they literally don't do anything. They just talk. Like even now, like you and I are just talking, but we're kind of having a discussion about the topics. Like whereas like they literally just do nothing. And so I mean, what is that? I don't know. It just kind of leaves me sort of speechless. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean about? I don't know.
Well, it's like. It's also, kind of like I see some of the stars that were really like famous and back a couple of decades ago, and stars that we grew up with, and they're kind of like not really popular, or not as like in the media spotlight now, and it's sad. And it's like these are people, like you said, these were people who worked, but like you said, the people that kind of come up now are just these people that are getting. So, like for example, there's a YouTube channel that my roommate watches. It's literally this man cleaning cars. He details cars. He cleans cars. He gets 50 million views on a video in a night. I'm like, this man literally must be making tens of $1,000s a week.
Wait, like literally just cleaning his car, like with a garden hose and a sponge?
He has muscles, and he's such a thirst trap. He does it like shirtless, or he like poses and he flexes. He's like, hey guys. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like he's literally just posing, and he's getting. But that's in our society. That's what we reward now. It's like the instant gratification. So, I don't know anymore. At 40, it's like goes back to what you were saying. Like now that I've like turned, hit middle age or whatever it is, like I'm kind of over it. Like I kind of don't care about the fame so much anymore as just my own personal happiness. And I think that's what I got caught up in with so many years. Like, trying to be famous. It's like, what level of sacrifice was I giving up my own like happiness? Because there's always more fame to be achieved, even if you're super famous,
But also to what end? Because this is the other thing that I think is so interesting about fame. And also what I thought was interesting about this documentary, how, like there's a lot, fame, especially like having a lot of followers and such, that can translate into a lot of money, which translate into living a better life. But it seems that there's like a lot of people who are just interested in fame as the end all be all. And I don't quite get that. Because like, what's the point of being famous if you're still taking the bus?
Well, I mean, I guess there's kind of like, so I was also funny talking about with my roommate Matt tonight too. It was like, there are some people that genuinely have videos and content and stuff up there that it's really, really bad. Like really bad. It's like, are they not self-aware enough to know that it's bad, or are they too self-aware that they want people to give them the negative attention, and that's how they want to become famous? I mean, God knows I've done enough of it in my career with all the shenanigans that I've done over the first few years. But,
can I tell you?
I try to do it at least.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just speaking of that, because I remember when you first started doing the viral videos, I don't think you and I had spoken for a couple of years. Just, just life kind of gets busy, and you move into, going back and forth.
Ex-husbands. Yeah.
And ex-husbands, exactly. But I remember that I was sitting on my bed, and I was just kind of just going through, it was on TMZ. And all of a sudden I open up TMZ, and your big head pops up, and you're cupping the Octomom's titties a la Janet Jackson. And I was like, what the
Oh my
hell
god.
is going on
Oh
here?
my god.
So,
Yeah.
I
That
guess,
was a blue afro.
so talk to me about that, just how you kind of really kind of moved into this like viral enterprise, right? Because again, when we first met, it was still, it was the early days and like boy bands were the thing. So I think when you first met, I think your boy band had just broken up and you were looking for another boy band. And then we move
Right.
forward a couple years. Boy bands go away, and I remember, you released some music, and you were as a solo pop star. How did the viral thing come about, or how did that even happen? Like where you said, "Oh,
A lot
wait."
of a lot of tequila and desperation, and as well as Xanax and marijuana. No, really. It was it was kind of like almost a fluke. I had met someone who was doing like a lot of the viral stuff, and I was like, she was like, "Oh, do you want to put Octomom in your video or something?" Or we worked it out. I was like, "Oh yeah, so, cool." And I woke up and like there were all these headlines that Octomom was doing a song with me, and I'm like, "Wow!" I'm like, "This could be something then. Maybe there's something here." So, I was like, at the same time, I think TMZ had put my first video on their website and whatever. And let me say, that stuff is like a freaking hide. Like, all these reality stars, they're like telling stories about themselves, left and right. But like, it is a hide. Like when you go on that website and you click on it, I mean, also something is going to be really bad. But if it's like something funny or stupid, like it's like it's almost very addicting. I feel like that should be my autobiography about like the addiction of fame and how it's like it's so self-perpetuating. But anyway, I think it's so it started with that kind of whole, and that's what drew me in, like that whole TMZ, like, and then it became like a week I was trying to race to see like how quickly I can get back on TMZ. It really was like cocaine. So it's like, oh my god, I want a mention on Yahoo News. I want to get on like Huffington Post. I want to get on, and it was like everyone was like, what can I do to like get on there? Like,
So
I had to
it
be on
truly
there,
was an addiction, like a drug. Like, okay, now this is great, but now how do I up the ante and up the ante and up the ante?
Right.
So do you think it's
Right,
possible for
right.
someone to OD on fame? I mean, I know
Yeah,
it's
I
possible
think the
for famous people
that
to OD, but is it possible to OD on fame?
I think you just answer. It's kind of like I think they're correlated. I think like people that's where it goes to. Like it becomes addiction. That kind of addiction, when you're that obsessed with something, usually leads to addiction in your real life. And those people either OD or they just they fall apart at the seams or they go too far. I mean, look at Jussie Smollett. The whole thing with him. He just got indicted on like 10 charges now.
Yeah.
By Chicago. So that's what happens when it goes too far. That's exactly what happens. Like,
And then it just explodes, and then you can't come back from it. Do you think? Tell me this.
Right, but yeah.
Do you think that he will ever be able to come back from this? I mean, like it might take time, but do you think like 5 years later it'll be like, guess who's back?
I'll be honest with you, he's definitely going to come. Look at O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson should be like the most hated man in America, and the fact that he's even tolerated without like. He still is semi-innocent around. Like, trust me, this kid is going to be, like, get over this whole thing. If he's smart and he's the same whore, what I predict he'll do is he'll ride this trial into pity, into redemption, and have that whole arc. And in 5 years, if he's smart and he's very persistent, he'll be much more famous than he is now.
So, in other words, it was actually a very smart, strategic move. It's the long game.
His career is already over. He has the black mark on his career. So now he's just got to own it. And the only way to own it is to go to trial and just publicly just ride it out,
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get like more attention and more, unless he's stupid and he's got to be really careful and strategic about what he does, I think, in the media, because people either will grow sympathetic for him or they'll wind up hating him more, and then you become like what's his face, Milo Yiannopoulos.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Did they deport him yet?
I think so. I don't know.
He kind of flamed out and then just got it. But see, he's another one who like I think will come back. I mean, as long as he can get a visa, Yeah, I don't know. It's so strange. Well, tell me this, because going back to you and your story. You started out as an actor and as a vocalist, and then you kind of fell into this, oh my goodness, I need another mention, I need another placement, I need another this. At some point, at some point I guess at some point did you ever begin to question like, well, what is your motivation? Like, oh wow, I started out wanting to sing, but now I'm doing this and I'm successful here. Like, did you have any moment where you like started or had to reassess kind of like, what your end goal was or is or?
It was probably when my mom passed away, probably right around that year. And it was funny because that was right when we both did Dr. Miami that same year.
Dr. Miami.
Ironically. We'll just have to talk about that in a second. But it was right after when we got that, it was right after she passed away. The timing was really odd. But then I believe, if you're spiritual, I think like that was her way of like distracting me to get through that time. Just like, oh, we're gonna get you put in a reality show and get plastic surgery that you always wanted. So that happening when it's I think was a gift from her. But like I think once all that kind of settled down, that was when like over the last year or two is really when I started to examine like what this all really means and what it's all really worth and like what fame is and what it's doing to me and stuff. And it was kind of like, and I was seeing like, idea after idea getting passed on from me and then somehow being transformed or used in some way on TV and just getting over and over screwed and screwed and screwed. And I'm like, well, how many times can I be mad at this if I'm putting this out in the universe and this energy is not going to be back to me? Like, and I'm just got to stop doing it. Like, I got to stop trying to hammer like a square into a circle,
Yeah.
And just stop, stop trying to like stop trying to do all these crazy. I mean, God knows, all of most of the heartache we've been through together.
Absolutely.
With our development process. And seeing some of the people in shows that get on the air, and it's like it's heartbreaking. It's like it's like.
Well, no, it is. I remember just trying to get that show to air. I remember like we make such great inroads, and then it would just be like banging your head against the wall. And then all of a sudden, that wall would fall down, and you're like, yes, and you're moving forward, and then all of a sudden you're banging your head against another wall.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and then that wall falls down, and you're like, yes, and then all of a sudden the entire development team leaves the network, and so you're like, well, now what do I?
Yeah, we'll call them Farrah and Michelle.
Exactly.
Farrah and Michelle.
Exactly.
Like Farrah and Michelle over at STV.
Exactly. So I guess so in having that, especially once your mom died, and having that like kind of talk to with yourself about, okay, so what am I doing? Where am I going? Where did you land? And how does that relate to what you're doing now?
I'm still kind of figuring it out, It's like I still want to do what I'm doing but I'm not. I don't want to put it this way. I don't want to do stuff that's not making me happy anymore in my life. If I feel like I've done it for the past 40 years and it's not helped me, there's no reason to keep doing it with the hope that it may someday. So that's like my biggest lesson. It's like cutting out behaviors and things that are like wasteful of my time. Before I would like agree to everything that I thought had a potential to lead to something. So I'm like a perfect example. If someone approached me a few days ago about developing a show idea, whatever. It's somebody that's kind of tapped into the whole reality world, so it could potentially lead somewhere. But I just wrote them and I was like, I'm not interested in this. I don't want to do any more projects that I think could potentially be something. Either like it is or it isn't, like I don't want to invest time in something if it's going nowhere. So I think that's like the biggest lesson that I'm like putting forward this year and like where I'm at with my career.
Kind of to better filter things out like at jump, right, as opposed to getting really deep into it and saying, oh, wow, this is, I mean, even like the reality right. TV thing is like the reality television has changed so much. Like gone are the days where they would just like give an order to like a really crazy idea and, where it was just like this factory of just kind of stupid programming. And, now it's really, the industry is really moving towards like premium unscripted. So where things are really more almost like documentaries and long form planning. And I think it's fascinating, but I don't know that it makes it more difficult, I think, as a content creator, right? And as someone who's trying to sell,
yeah,
just because it's changing so quickly and it's like, what seems to work. Like, even if you go back to that same show that we were pushing for so long at the very
Yeah.
beginning. Do you remember we originally were giving it to one network, like the network instituted, like completely rebranded, and we're like, oh, this
Yeah.
is perfect and made for us. And our
Yep.
agent walked over to the network, and literally the very next day the head of the network was fired and they completely rebranded again.
Yeah. That was some shit. That was bad luck. That was just bad luck.
So then tell me this. So now, with the whole Insta fame and YouTube and all of this, because I know we've had conversations about how, and you feel to a certain degree that like the studio system is becoming obsolete as a result of being able to independently, use the internet and you use various platforms and video distribution platforms to produce whatever it is you want to produce. I see those as like literally two totally different worlds that don't really cross. And so you kind of have to lean into either one if you want to be successful into either one. How do you feel about it? And as far as your own career and your own projects, like where are you kind of leaning towards?
Well, it's funny. I want to give you more of an example, even from my personal life as a viewer. We've started replacing all of these shows that we were watching, these reality shows, with YouTube content, because now it's so seamlessly integrated technology into the TV. It feels like you're watching TV. So Matt and I will get into, we tapped into this whole subculture of YouTube, our world of it, where we have like Pinkberry and, Munching and Chatting, shout out to Candy Crew, Band Channel. They're all these community of people that have these shows on YouTube that air nightly. They get thousands collectively, tens and tens of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands and millions of views. Simply Sarah, another one. And, they probably would, if they all had banded together into one network, would equal a cable network easily, like one of these mid-sized cable networks. So to me, it's fascinating because I wonder if the model really is going to just go where it's going to be like all of these reality shows are going to go away, and it's literally just going to be like YouTube. You're going to sign on to YouTube. Maybe it's going to be a hybrid of what we have now, where people are uploading personal content and creative stuff from studios, and that's just all going to be reality TV. Because really, I think there is no need. Because and also I have to say, like, some of the drama that goes on these YouTube channels. Like, for example, when Munching and Chatting was going after Melody's life journey because she, they used to be best friends in season 1, but now, Melody flipped and aligned with Mukbang Terminator, and they're going after,
I don't know what half of those
Rojo.
words mean.
It's literally the same thing as Lisa Rinna, attacking Erica Jane it's the same drama, just on like a personal scale. And I think that's what resonates with a lot of people.
Totally.
Because really, like, what people want right now is like whatever makes them, I mean, the world is so screwed up. So like entertainment has to be feel good. Like what do you relate to and makes you feel good, I feel like. And that's what people really are going towards with these like reality shows, But I think this is the realest of the real. So like, personally, I really think that they're going to blend together to the point where they're going to be one form of media. Like, there's not going to be broadcast TV, and there's not going to be like Instagram, influencer, YouTube, social media stars. It's all going to be one kind of giant amalgam of everything, if that makes sense.
No, totally. But then what does that mean? Like, okay, like you as someone who creates and puts things out in the world, what does that mean in terms of being able to get noticed, right? I mean, one of the great things about having a network behind you is that you have their marketing budget, right? And you also are on a network that people go to, for example, like a Bravo, right? There are people whose television sets, or even if they're watching online, are just always trained on Bravo. So if you have this new program that comes on, you kind of have a built-in audience, at least to sample, your show. Versus if you start a new YouTube channel, you're kind of to a certain extent starting from scratch. So, I mean, so as high as the bar of entry is in the traditional TV model, I almost feel like the bar of entry, well, not the bar of entry, right? Because anybody can do it, but the bar of success almost seems even harder because there are endless possibilities that I, as a viewer, can kind of switch back and forth from.
Well, but it's also, as you know, the other component to that is targeted viewers. Like, what are the viewers like? So you're getting viewers at a doctor's office that maybe they may be into Bravo high-end content. Maybe it's the doctor plastic surgeon's office where it's all very like upper class, and they wouldn't want
Dr.
to see
Miami
reality
again.
TV stuff. It's too good. Yeah, they don't. Yeah. Or no, they'd rather see Dr. Miami. You know. So I think like with YouTube though, it's targeted because the people that subscribe to you on YouTube genuinely like your content. You've already like established they're subscribing because they like you. They're not liking you because they subscribed to you and had to see you, you know? So I think also consider this too, like how much does a YouTuber like if a YouTuber uploads a video and it gets 1 million views, right? How much money does that YouTuber make versus how much a cable network would make if they aired a program that had 1 million viewers? Like, is that like a half an hour program? Like, is it relatively equal, or like you got to wonder too? Like, what are the optics in play there too? I think.
No, totally. Well, I think I think that depends, and I think that that's like a deeper conversation than we can have in 55 minutes. But I think it's and goes back to me saying like, especially after seeing this documentary, I feel like these are two different worlds. Like I feel like the people who watch traditional television aren't necessarily really plugged into what's going on YouTube. Likewise, I think that, and especially like the, what's below the millennials, Gen Y or Gen Z, like I think most of them, the YouTube is kind of just where they live as far as where they get their entertainment. And there's like absolutely no crossover as to like what's going on HBO or CBS or NBC.
Well, I think scripted. Well, don't get me wrong. I think scripted will stay the same. I think scripted drama has existed from the beginning and will exist to the end of time because people love to escape. So I think scripted is not going to go anywhere. I guess I'm just more talking about this whole reality TV phenomenon. It's going to kind of blend itself together, I think.
Oh no, but even unscripted. I mean, the people who watch Bravo, I think your average Bravo viewer isn't necessarily getting the majority of their entertainment from YouTube. Like they're getting it from Bravo and WeTV and Lifetime, etc. And then on the vice versa, again, like for example, like you talk about like YouTube stars, like, okay, the 3 people that you mentioned, I have no idea who they are, yet I'm sure there are millions of people who do. And those million people, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Pinkberry, Simply Sarah, Munching and Chatting, Candy Crew, Fan Channel.
Well, exactly. And if any one of their fans happen to see one of them walking down the street, they would flip out.
Well, except for Fan Channel and Candy Morgan because they don't show their faces. But if Fan Channel doesn't reveal people, see, I get so into this, like I can
right. But my point is,
says the Housewives.
But my point is, those same audience members, if Jennifer Aniston walked into the coffee shop, crickets. Right. So I feel like they're literally two different worlds, and I think you might be right in terms of that they're going to merge, but I feel like at this point it's like they're apples and oranges. Because a perfect example, bringing back up our experience on Dr. Miami, I think the lesson as far as from how to what content works and and needs to live where, I think that was a perfect example of how a really big social media following does not necessarily translate to a big linear television following. And you even see it in just like how movies happen, right? Because the big thing now, like even if you go to audition, I was talking to a friend of mine who works in the theater in New York. And even when you go to like auditions on Broadway now, the first thing they ask is how many followers do you have? Which I think
really?
isn't that crazy? How many followers do you have? And I feel as though like followers don't equate to, because I think YouTube, watching TV on your phone, watching performances on your phone, that's very, very passive. And I don't think that the general, like if we're speaking in general, like very generally, I don't think that your general audience, audience member who watches very passively on their phone is the person who's going to take action to do something, right? Isn't the person who's going to take action to, all right, I need to go and pay money and see this movie because it stars this person, or I need to, because
Right.
also they don't even care about that. I think that they just care about that. They want to hear the person just talk about, oh my God, my experience making the movie. Oh my God, let me tell you
Right.
about when I was in the, so it's like, it's almost like it's like a totally different audience. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the yeah, I totally see your point. I see your point. I guess the overarching kind of theme I see though is like that it is very like similar. It's, I guess, you know what, I see YouTube as like the poor man's Bravo. Like that's what it's free. Like you can get involved in these YouTube drama channels, and you don't have to pay money for cable. You know, you don't even have to pay money to have a phone to watch it. You know, you seem like a computer or whatever at the library. You know, so you know maybe that's what it is. It's like the YouTube is like the poor man's cable TV, reality TV.
So is that something that you could see maybe being on your radar, maybe kind of going that route and maybe doing some kind of like a consistent, I don't know if you'd call it a program, but like, consistent content on YouTube and
Yeah. Yeah, we are. It's funny. I'm actually streaming YouTube live right now on my YouTube channel. But I mean,
oh
it's
yeah,
ironic.
hi
I've
mom. My
had-
mom doesn't watch
it's
YouTube.
like I've had like what?
I said my mom doesn't watch YouTube. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go for it.
She. Hey, chip the saw.
Oh,
my God. All right. So.
You were saying, I was saying you said you were are you, that's okay. My question was, is that something that you could see yourself doing? Becoming like one of these folks who like consistently every Wednesday, Friday, and Monday, I got to see what Adam's posted on the YouTube.
Well, I do the theme song for, and I produce the creative content somewhat for Pinkberry, Munching and Chatting. There are other channels that want to work with me. So my music is slowly being creepy into all of these shows, every night. And, I kind of want to start something with Matt to be like a hot mess channel. And, I kind of want to do it. I kind of like going back to my point before. I don't want to get into something that's going to make me too uncomfortable or be work that I'm not happy doing, for no reward.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be careful about that, but I'm kind of like, so we're kind of organically doing it. Like I'm just going live here and there, and people come on, we start chatting. Sometimes we have huge people in the room. Sometimes we have like 5 people. Like right now we have, how many people do we have? 6 people in the room, so it's like, it's hit or miss with it. But, I think that it could be something that I would like. I mean, going back to your Broadway point, I guess I need more followers on Instagram before I would like to do Broadway at some point. But now it's good to know. That's all I need to get more followers. But I'm probably like I'm going to continue to work with the Howard Stern Show, which I'm very blessed and honored and love working with all those guys. And anytime they ask me to do something, I'm happy to.
And how did that happen? Speaking of Howard Stern, I feel almost like you're like an unofficial whack packer. Like, how did that happen? Because I feel like every time I go to my Facebook feed, I feel like every time I go to my Facebook feed, you guys are like doing something. You're either making an appearance on Howard Stern, or you're doing something like either maybe Howard Stern adjacent and working with some of the folks on his team. Like, how did that even whole relationship with the Stern Show come about?
Well, it started like in 2013. I had done the show like 3 times in 2013, and then we didn't do anything for like I stopped talking to Patricia for a few years, and then
Patricia being Tan Mom for those uninitiated in our audience,
right? So I stopped, and then in 2018 I had reconnected with Patricia, and we said, oh, let's do a song for fun, like. We thought it was just going to be like something from the thing, page 6, we'll write about it, whatever, it'll be cute, we'll put it on iTunes. And, when we heard the audio, it was like, oh my God, this is really funny. And then sure enough, it aired on Howard Stern, and it became this thing, like every day he was talking about the song. So it blew up, and I was just like, it just became this phenomenon to the point where I made a lot of money off that song. So, Patricia and I both, so, we're really happy, and it was unexpected and kind of took off from there. And Howard, really like he always seems to like me, which is I'm so honored, like that he even finally knows my name.
I love it. So then what's the next, again, going back to like that, reassessing and really thinking about like, all right, where am I going and, what's going to make me happy and what's going to, make it so like now that you're kind of like in this zone, like what do you think is kind of like the ideal next thing as far as your career is and as far as what'll make you happy and as far as what'll, fulfill you?
I don't know. All I can say is right now, I'm very thankful I have something very big coming up with the Spirit Show. Hopefully soon. I'm Tan Mom. So there's some big things coming with that, which I'm really excited about. And I'm just focusing on that. I'm focusing on the opportunities I have at hand, I think, rather than like trying to chase down rainbows. So I guess just like, it's going to be a lot more of the Spirit Show. And, the stuff I enjoy, like the Pink Fairy and the, munching and chatting, and building up my YouTube channel, which is, like I said, it's going to be very organic and slow. I'm not going to try and like get to 1 million followers overnight or 1 million viewers or whatever it is, just do it casually and when I want to on my timeline. And then, that's kind of it for now. I'm kind of just regrouping, I think.
Yeah. But speaking of like the social and such, because my social really blows. Like I'm horrible. Like I'll get into spurts where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tackle this thing, and then it's like, meh. And then when the show on the Strip at the Tuscany was running, I had somebody who was handling it for me during the run. But I really suck at it, and I feel like you're pretty good at the social. Teach me, master.
I am, I don't think I am that good. I am really just starting to get, my Instagram is pathetic. I still don't even have, 10,000 followers. It's like, oh my God, you should go die.
Yeah, I have like 400. It's like sad. And most of those are relatives.
Maybe we're just too old. I don't know. That's for Instagram. On Twitter, I do a lot better. I have a really good engaged audience on Twitter, and I'm really like talking with all the people on Twitter. So I don't know. It's just maybe I think
Twitter's another one. Because
I'm
I'm the worst on the Twitter because it's like there's just so much. I never like I get overwhelmed with Twitter. Like I think I've maybe opened Twitter up, like my Twitter app. I've opened it like maybe 3 or 4 times in the last year because it's just so overwhelming. And then you only have like a few words and then it's like, well, what's that about? I have to click something to see the rest of it. It's just easier to go to Yahoo and look at the trending news.
Listen, honey, if Donald Trump can use it, you can figure it out.
No, I need to get better at it. I haven't actually been to your Twitter in forever. What's on your Twitter right now? What was the last thing you tweeted?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, boy. Oh, that's actually pretty funny if you look at it. It is, it says, I want to open a bar called Twisted Henny. And it's a picture of Stacey Lane Matthews.
Oh my God. Can I tell you? I don't even have the Twitter app downloaded on my phone. Isn't that horrible? I was like, let me look and see. Go to my Twitter. What was the last thing I tweeted? And when was it? I'm curious. Oh, it's so sad. Okay. It's so embarrassing.
Watch me on Dr. Miami coming soon.
Was it really to push Dr. Miami?
No, it's Hi World Meet Jordan von Haslow voice butter an evening series with Bertha Kitt.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I did tweet that because that was a tweet. That was a really great quote. It was Broadway Buzz. I did this awesome. Yeah, I did this wonderful concert, this show in New York in October. There's this fantastic series called An Evening With, run by this amazing musician and composer, and he's like a savant. His name's Blake Allen, and he has this series called An Evening With, and it's like every 2 months or every 3 months. And it was the second season, and it's always a group of folks from, Broadway, from, the cabaret scene. And each individual evening focuses on just one performer. And usually it's someone who's dead or about to die, because he has this uncanny thing where he like announces someone and then they like croak like a few weeks later. So I told him that don't ever do a night of me. But
be careful, girl.
Right, seriously. But we did the Eartha Kitt, and while I was singing, that tweet came across. They're like, voice of butter, and I said yes. And so that was, and what was my tweet before that? So that was October 2019. When was my tweet before that? My tweet before that.
The Las Vegas residency. It starts November 17th and runs November 24th, December 1st, and December 8th as a limited preview engagement. I've been working on this project for some time with Jacob Haslow Music. It's a beautiful thing too. ...
I wrote that. That must have been the person that was doing it for me. I don't know.
You wrote it on your Twitter. It's coming from Instagram.
Oh, it's from Instagram? Oh, well, that doesn't count when you like post. No, I want to know like what my last okay. So aside from the quote from Broadway Buzz, who says I have the voice of butter, by the way. What was my next? Not something that I just like posted and then tweeted out to tweet, because I don't think that counts. I don't think that when you like post on one thing and then you like share the same thing automatically, I don't think that counts. That's like lazy and it's really bad. PayPal.
2 hours on hold after being
oh my god!
Disconnected by your system. Trying to resolve the same issue for 48 hours. Very disappointed customer. What to do for resolution? This is not good. We need our budget for the free to be new music video to make this happen, guys.
Oh my god! I totally forgot all about that. That was that music video, and And didn't that sponsor do something really kind of cool recently?
He saved Russia, hacked American ballots, and he prevented it.
Oh my god! What was the name? Oren was his name. What was the name of his company? It was like
Area 1.
I'm sorry. Area 1. So he blocked a Russian cyber attack?
Yeah, he like stopped the Russians from doing something with the voting again. He like found it out.
Awesome. Oh my god, I should send a tweet. Congrats. See, I missed a perfect opportunity to send a tweet.
Yeah, exactly. I tweeted out when it happened.
So why did you tell me to tweet it out? You know, these things aren't on top of, I don't even have it on my phone. So listen, here's what. I need you to be my tweet buddy, because I really want to. Instagram, I can't figure out the Instagram. I'll get to that later. Facebook is just it's too much. But maybe tweet, because tweet's easy, because you just say something really quickly and then you send it out, and you can reply to people and you can talk to people. So maybe that's it. So I need you, when something's tweet worthy, I need you to send me a text and say, "Dummy, tweet this."
Okay, I can do that. Okay, fair enough. I may send you some stuff about me before.
Oh my god. But, it's really bad. How often do you tweet a day?
That's a good question. I don't. Let me see. Let's count. Let me count my tweets.
And while you're doing that, while you do that, I'm actually going to download the Twitter app, because it's kind of ridiculous that I haven't.
Okay, you need it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tweets, but one of them was about this. So does that count as a tweet?
Of course, it counts as a tweet. It's about. Did you tag me in the tweet? Did you twag me?
Yes, I tagged. I said I'm joining my old co-star, Dr. Miami co-star Jordan Haslow. Still some MST.
Oh, I kind of miss Dr. Miami. Do you still talk to Dr. Miami? That was actually a really fun experience. I haven't.
That was a great time, you know.
Every now and then, his what's her name? What's her name? Ariani. Every now and then, Ariani pops up in my Facebook feed, and I might like something that she does. But I haven't spoken to any of them in a very, very, very long time. Where do I find? I'm totally technologically. I'm a loser. Like, I don't even know where to find the Twitter app. I'm looking in my downloaded library. This is so hard and so ridiculous. Might this be something that I should be tweeting about? Like, oh my god, I don't know how to tweet. Or would that be a stupid tweet?
Well, here's the thing about Twitter. I think if you overthink it, Twitter's about being witty but not trying too hard, or TTH. So, when you're
so it's like direct messaging on the Tinder, right?
Yeah, think of their Twitter audience as a person of the sex that you find attractive, and you're trying to woo them, and like you want to be suave and cool and funny. That's what like tweeting should be. Like people think like Twitter should just be like stream of consciousness, but it's like, okay, no, that's
But
what like
that's
gets
how you
in
get in
trouble,
trouble,
or
like
like
Roseanne, right?
yeah, or like exactly, or like you know you just find like accounts that have had like 2,000 followers for the past 10 years, like Khalifa Rivera. But but like yeah, he has crazy tweets. So you have to be like strategic, and like you have to really like be witty with tweets. Like what would make you have to think like what would make you stop and favorite or retweet something. Like you'd have to be like,
Well,
oh yeah,
apparently
that's funny,
nothing,
or I
since
get
I
that.
didn't have the tweet on my even phone, Twitter on my phone. Okay, boom. And I thought I wasn't gonna remember my password, but I did. So keyword, I'm joining my old friend, keyword old Dr. Miami co-star at. Oh, you just read this. All right. So then I reply back. So if I can reply back, so I retweet, or so like okay. So how do I like reply to your tweet? This is so stupid. I'm so dumb and slow. Do I press the little because that's a retweet then, or do I retweet it and then add a comment? Is that how I do it? Let's see.
You could do either one. So if you click on the tweet, you'll see a heart. A heart means you just like it. The arrows going back and forth mean that you want to retweet it. And then if you hit on that button, it'll say retweet or retweet with comment. If you do with comment, that means you can add a little blurb before it. And then if you just hit the speech bubble to the left, it just means you're directly replying and can only be visible in his thread, I think.
Got it. All right, I'm tweeting you now. This is fun. And
shout out to Matt
retweet.
Buxton, who says, I remember watching you both on Dr. Miami. Love that episode.
Oh, Matt, good old Matt Buxton. Yeah, that was a really fun time doing that Dr. Miami thing. Although, can I tell you, not to like blow up a very cheap network, I don't know what happened, but I think that when I was like having them fly me out, I didn't specify what airline I wanted to fly. I was just really concerned because I had like, I remember the first time we had to go out there, I had like a really short window of time, like because like I had something going on in Los Angeles, and then I had to take like a red eye, but then I had to like come back like early, just like it was like a really crazy time. So I was just like, oh my God, you have to make sure that I'm in this in this particular window, because otherwise everything is gonna fall apart. My life's gonna fall apart. But I didn't tell them who to fly me. So do you know those SOBs put me on a red eye, Spirit Airlines.
What did you expect?
It was horrible, but it was. Do you think they don't even like your thing doesn't even recline? Oh my God, it was so horrible, and they don't even give you water. Oh God, Dr. Miami, the good old days. Okay, I just tweeted you.
Dr. Miami, the good old days. That was a lot of fun. Well, I wanted to say one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Firstly, in the episode, when I'm waking up and I go, Mama, it's not because I'm calling for my mother. It's because it's a reference to Mama's family. That's one thing I always wanted to clear up publicly.
I'm glad. I'm sure one of the 3 people who watched it live have been tossing and turning in bed for the last 2.5 years, wondering what on earth did Adam mean. Oh, is that something I should tweet?
What?
What Adam meant. Like I can, like it go. See, okay, I'm getting the hang of this
Use
Twitter
hashtag
stuff.
Dr. Miami.
Hashtag
Use
Dr.
the hashtag Dr. Miami.
Okay. Oh, this is so much. This is so much work. And now, like, look. There's just so much stuff in my feed. Like, I don't even know what to even look at. Like, there's your tweet. Then there's something about like some horrible storm. And then there's like,
oh my God.
There's just too much. It's too much. I'm so confused. Can we start a Twitter battle? I think that might be kind of cool.
No, it's me. Well, be careful with that. Be careful with that. You don't want to start a Twitter war with the wrong person.
Have you ever been in a Twitter war?
Probably. I've been in a few with a lot of celebrities. I mean, half of them.
What was the worst? Okay, so speaking of that, what was the worst time? Was there ever like one time where you've been like, wah, and you're like, oh my God, that was so horrible, or you felt badly about it, or you felt like, oh my God, I can't believe that this has escalated to this?
Well, probably, I don't know, like, maybe like with Michael Bublé was like a little freaky because it was like intimidating because he's like much more famous than I am. So I was just like, when he was like, I hope like I meet you in person and
Well, what
and, like,
happened?
try to
Give us some backstory. We want the tea.
So I was on Facebook and I was like commenting about a story about, okay, he was in the news because he had taken a selfie of some woman in a locker room and made like a pervy comment or something. So I commented on the story and said something like, raise your hand if you've ever been victimized by Michael Bublé. So anyone who's seen the movie Mean Girls knows that that's a quote from Mean Girls. So it was a joke. So he comments on it and it's like, well, I think this was on my page. This was on my Facebook page. He comes on my Facebook page and comments like, well, I hope you'll say that to me in person. I was like, calm down, girl. It's not that serious. Like, and he just comments back with like a big fat smiley face, I guess, to look like his face. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, go for me, girl.
I love it. Okay, so I want to stoke this then. I'm going to tweet, hey, Michael Bublé, can you believe what Adam Barta said about you on Hot 702.5 FM?
No.
Tweet.
No.
I'm getting the hang of this Twitter thing.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Oh my God. Well, we only have a few more minutes left. This has been fun. We have to catch up like this more often in front of tens and tens of our closest friends. Tell me a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you have coming up and what we should be looking out for.
Yeah, I would say check out, I have a lot of stuff coming up with the Stern Show, so definitely follow me on Instagram, like if you haven't, that's where I need the most people, I guess, to get on Broadway. So at Adam Barta on Instagram, help me get on Broadway. Thank you.
Awesome. At Adam Barta on Broadway. Again, I'm Jordan Van Haslow, and thank you all
No, on Instagram.
On Instagram. What did I say? On Broadway? See, I'm putting it out there. Thank you again for joining us, Adam, and thank you all for listening to Showtime with Jordan Van Haslow and friends on 702.5 FM. We will talk to you guys, and I guess I'll see some of you guys next Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.